My husband and I are local business owners with a 4-year-old little boy. We were living out our American dream until Monday, April 11th, 2011. That is the day we were notified that our water was contaminated with barium, chloride, strontium, manganese, lead, methane, radiological material, and radon from the drilling of the natural gas well 1,200 feet from our property. That is the water that we have been drinking, cooking with, and showering in. Over 3 years ago, I, like all my neighbors, leased my 2 acres of property for $2,500 an acre to Chesapeake. We used the money to start fixing up our home and thinking we were increasing our property value. Little did I know we were signing life away as we knew it. 3 weeks prior to April 11th, I became ill. My hair started falling out, I was having heart palpitations, shortness of breath, and stomach cramps. My husband feared I was having panic attacks and suggested I see a doctor. I went to my family physician and the only thing they could find was that my heart rate and blood pressure were elevated. They sent me for blood work on my thyroid. Those test results came back within normal range. They then recommended I take a medication for anxiety as they didn't know what else could be afflicting me. 3 days went by and my hands began to tremble. I would lose my balance as I stood from a sitting position. My speech started to become slurred, and at that point, I made another phone call to the doctor's office. I told them, something isn't right. This is wrong. I was told to continue the medication hoping that it would kick in soon. Then on Monday, April 11th, I received a phone call from Benchmark Analytics. They said my water results were in and they were a major concern. My reply was, what do you mean? I have been extremely ill for the past 3 weeks and we can't figure out why. Their reply was, this could be the cause. Barium is known to cause the symptoms you're experiencing. After many blood tests and research, they found I had extremely high levels of barium in my body at a range of 110 micrograms per liter, normal range being 0 or less than 10. When barium accumulates in the body, it affects the functions of the nervous system. Barium poisoning displays symptoms that are similar to flu or anxiety, which is why it is not strange to find the condition misdiagnosed. Common symptoms of barium poisoning include muscle weakness, tremors, difficulty in breathing, stomach irritations, anxiety, cardiac irregularities, and eventually paralysis. When I contacted Chesapeake and told them my well was contaminated, they sent out a Mr. Rick Hall. He came to my home and sat at the table and looked over my water results. He started by trying to explain away the substances found in my water. When I asked him to explain the radiologicals found in my water, he flipped to the last page and said, oh, the radon, which was 1.2 PCILs when we purchased the house 4 years ago, it is now 154.5 PCILs. I said no, the radiologicals, gross alpha and gross beta. His reply was, oh, I don't know anything about them. Which surprised me, which surprised me as Benchmark informed me they were direct contaminants of the natural gas industry. He then asked me, didn't I realize anything was wrong with my water while I was drinking it? I said, no, here, let me show you. I then drew a glass of water from the refrigerator's water and ice maker. I held it up to him and said, clear, now wouldn't you drink this? His reply was, yeah, looks good to me. This water was clear, but yet had so many chemicals in it that it required an emergency phone call from the water testing company. Mr. Rick Hall stated he would need to pass the buck to Chief, saying they were the closest well. I had to contact them. I told him they had not fracked the well behind my property, and he stated, it's a common misconception that fracking is what contaminates well water. It's the actual drilling process that causes the first phase of water contamination. However, before leaving, Mr. Hall could not give me a phone number to contact someone from Chief and had no clue even who I would speak with.
Liar.
After 3 days of phone calls to every phone number I found online associated with Chief, I finally spoke to a Mr. Richard Adams, who told me, lo and behold, a Mr. Rick Hall had called him. Yet Mr. Hall had no clue who to call with Chief. However, before leaving, Mr. Hall could not give me a phone number. Sorry, I'm reading again. With at least 12 active gas wells in my immediate area, I felt compelled to warn my neighbors about my well contamination. Every neighbor I have talked to has problems with their water. However, they don't have the money to spend $900 on independent water testing. There are children who are showering and drinking in this water. They don't know the risks and don't understand the severity of the situation. They believe that if it was a concern, the DEP would take care of it. It sickens me to think that nothing is being done. Just this past week, my son and my barium levels results came in. My son's levels are 110 micrograms per liter, which was collected 18 days after we stopped drinking the water. In my second round, I get upset when I speak about my son. My second round of testing for the barium levels came in at 210 micrograms per liter, which is 100 mics higher than my previous test. My doctor was confused by this fact, so they did some research to look into it, but still have no definitive answers for me. I am extremely confused as to why our health department is not interested in these issues, and no one from Pennsylvania Health Department has contacted us. And why are they not investigating this? Every week I receive a phone call from someone different in my county that has unexplained rashes, high blood pressure, heart palpitations, high barium levels, a child with blisters all over his face from his mother bathing him in the water, and even a woman whose spleen burst in an unexplained way, all with contaminated water. They complain of yellowish-brown water with a putrid smell, cloudy water that emits a white vapor, soapy-like water, and even water with a bluish tip to it. None of these people are receiving help from our DEP, local, state, or federal governments. The DEP pretends we and our problems don't exist. Yes, they come to test our water and give us the results. After that, they pretend the elevated levels aren't a problem and tell us they probably have always been there. DEP even told a woman with water twice as bad as mine, who lives just a mile down the road, to just put a water softener on her system.
Oh my God!
Yes. Her water would then be fine to drink. I almost hit the floor when she told me this. My home's water system has a water softener, a sediment filter, a particle filter, and a carbon filter on it. My water went through all of these steps before we drank it, or even showered in it. Yet I still became very ill. How can the DEP give this advice?
Oh my God.
It is not correct.
Criminal. It's criminal.
I have spoken with hydrogeologists, water treatment specialists, and well drillers. All of them have told me there is not a system that exists that will remove all of the substances you have in your water, and drilling another well is futile. Since April 11th, my life has become unrecognizable. I no longer sleep well at night. We are now moving out of our home, which we have poured the last 4 years of our life into. Every day I struggle with the fact we cannot trust our government to protect its people. My time with my son and my husband has become limited as life is now consumed with phone calls and visits to doctors, attorneys, water testers, and trying to help my neighbors who call me with health and contamination issues. I fear that someday in the distant future, our state and county government will wake up and realize that the cancer clusters, heart conditions, children with learning disabilities are too frequent to ignore. By that time, it will be too late. Our family has become collateral damage. We are just one of the 33% failure rate of these gas companies, the failure to keep the residents of Bradford County's wells contaminant-free. I would now like to read an excerpt from Article 1 of the Pennsylvania State Constitution, Section 27. The people have a right to clean air, pure water, and the preservation of the natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. Pennsylvania's natural resources are the common property of all the people, including generations yet to come. As trustee of these resources, the Commonwealth shall conserve and maintain them for the benefit of all the people. I am standing here now to ask Governor Tom Corbett, why have my constitutional rights been taken from my family?